thought I'd show you how these seats come out of here. You have to take off the seat cover, which is this thing here. You take that off, and there was a foam pad underneath that just to make it a little softer to sit on, which if it sticks a little bit, I use just a wide putty knife to kind of help me get it loose. And these screws are what holds the seat in here. This one, somebody looks like they've cross-threaded it. I have to fix that. Oh yeah. Oof. Okay. But I don't know why they were taking out the seat. Apparently they started to and they quit, or maybe they got it out. I don't know. That thing there is what holds down the seat. And these are aircraft screws. They're flathead things that I guess were left over from World War II. But I got a lot of them around here, so that's why I use those. But it's a 1032 thread, as most of these small 3/16 aircraft screws are. I think I'll put new screws in all of them. Because I think that one's cross-threaded. But that's it. That's how the seat comes out, because the nuts are captive under there. I've got a rivet in there, and they're fastened in so it can't turn. So that's all you have to do for the seat, just those 4 screws. And the front seat's the same way. This is a T-handled tap wrench, and this is a tap. It's used for cutting threads in a hole. Now this tap, written right on it, which you probably can't see, but it says a 1032 tap. This tap has 4 flutes, but they sell them with 2 flutes, 3 flutes, 4 flutes. This one has 4. They're usually pointed on the end, so they go in the hole pretty easy. You have to start them nice and straight. Thread. So this is a 1032 thread. The number 10 screw is 3/16. I don't know why they don't just call it 3/16, but it's less numbers to write, I guess. But a number 10 screw, which would be this thing here that I'm going to put in there. A number 10 screw requires a tap drill. The tap drill size, you have to have the right drill size for the hole that you're going to put that tap in. And you can look on something called a tap drill chart, and it'll say what size drill you use for that. The screw itself may be 3/16 in diameter, and it might have 32 threads per inch. But the drill that you put the hole in where the threads are going to be has to be smaller than that. If I drilled at 3/16, this tap wrench would just drop right down through it. So you always make sure the tap drill is smaller than the OD of the threads you're putting in there. That's what they call a tap drill size, and there's tap drill charts. You can go on the internet and see what I'm talking about. But these holes in this seat mount here, they've been cross-threaded, and I want to check them all to make sure I got the thread right in all of them, just by running the tap through there. If there's anything bunged up, or somebody tried putting in a screw that was a bad screw, this will tend to cut the excess metal out wherever the threads are bunged up. It can't put metal back in, but it can clean out the metal that's not supposed to be there. That's what it's going to do. This tap over there, hold it nice and straight. You don't want to feel resistance on it, because all I'm trying to do is clean out that thread. It shouldn't be really cutting anything. You see? And you run that through there. Now what's underneath this is a bar of aluminum that's pop riveted on here. So there's no nut. That's why I build it that way, so you don't have to get under there with a wrench when you're trying to take that seat off. I mean, what a pain in the neck that would be. It's supposed to be you take out these 4 screws, which is pretty easy to do if you got a Phillips screwdriver, and just take these 4 screws out and the seat comes right out of there. So Okay, now that one's good. And of course you can put the screw in there. When you start a screw, if it starts going in hard, you got it cross threaded. It should go in there with your fingers until you're ready to tighten up. It's not like a wood screw where you can put it in crooked and it don't make a difference. These are machine screws and it does. So here's another one. I'm going to try it, run through there. And you just take it real easy. It's kind of tapered on the end, so the threads get, you know, a little tighter, and it cuts a little more as it goes through there. And that's tapping that right out of there. It might be I didn't tap them all the way through because it's, I don't know, a pretty thick piece of aluminum under there. I don't know why somebody would cross thread these. It seems like they're pretty easy to put in to me. So, and when you put in the seat, you would start all the screws by hand first, because you can see how this moves around. It's not real rigid. So you put the screws in and start them in by hand first, so you know it's not cross threaded. And then you go in with the screwdriver and tighten them down. But this is going to straighten it out. Now, what would I do if these holes are screwed up and I can't use a 1032 screw in there because the threads are stripped or so crooked and so bunged up I can't fix them? Well, then I'd go in there with an electric drill, drill it out to the next bigger size, say maybe a 1/4 inch, and put a 1/4 20 or a 1/4 28 thread in there, which is, you know, the next size bigger tap than this. But I'd go through there with the tap drill for that, which would be maybe 13/64 or something, would be the size for that. And then get a 1/4 inch tap and run through that hole. Then I got threads for a bigger bolt. And then you just get a screw that's 1/4 inch, a little bigger. And that's how you'd fix something like that. It's real easy to do, but you have to kind of think of this stuff. Let's see, I was going to tell you what this orange box was. This is an ELT, emergency locating transmitter. If you crash or hit too hard, there's a weight in there or something sets it off on a switch, and it starts transmitting. The antenna for it is right behind the seat here, and I got to put new batteries in. It's supposed to put new batteries in every couple of years or so. So I just put new batteries in before I sold the plane, but I'm going to put new ones in again. So this will be ready to go. And this over here, that's the rear seat throttle. That's what works the throttle through this push rod right here. That's what's, it's just moving the front throttle lever is what it's doing. But of course you can't move it if somebody has their hand on that throttle lever, because the one in front's about 10 inches long and this one's only about 6 inches long. Now, this is a little clevis, little U-bracket like thing. They use these a lot on airplanes. This one's kind of bent up a little bit. It's something made out of aluminum that I think probably ASAP, they were the manufacturers up in Canada that made this airplane kit. Something they made probably. But what I'm going to do to try to straighten that out is I'm going to put it in that vise and try squeezing it to get this bulge back here pushed down. And then maybe I'll put a piece of steel in here that's the same width as this, find something I can pound on, and I'll bend these and make sure these are nice and straight too. It's not a structural part of the airplane. It has nothing to do with it flying, landing, or anything else. It just holds the tube that acts as a curtain rod for the Lexan polycarbonate plastic that you're looking through for the back seat. It's a side window is what it's for, and it just supports that. That's all it does. It's the top edge support. And I might have to make one of these too, I don't know, but I'll see if I can straighten this one and see what it looks like. I can probably blast off all that paint. Now, there's the bracket. This is the one that was all bent up, but it's ready to paint black now. There's a reason I paint everything black, it's so it doesn't reflect in the Lexan. You really should even wear black socks when you fly it, because your visibility is a whole lot better. You don't want interior reflections. But yeah, there's the bracket, and it's all ready to put back on there. Now, not everybody has a blast cabinet to clean off paint, but you can soak it in paint remover or something like that. If you see my video on the hot tank, don't use hot tank on aluminum. That's no good. You can't do that. Hot tank's just hot soapy water is really all it is. But it'll take paint off. But only on steel. Don't put aluminum in there because it does eat up the aluminum. You get quite a reaction if you put that in there. On this ELT transmitter, there's a little foam jack, which most people, I don't know if they know about phones anymore or not. You got to take that loose by pushing down that little catch. Take the wire loose. And then you can unscrew the antenna just by twisting that thing about a quarter turn, and off comes the antenna. This makes a light go on the panel if you should have an accident, or if you want to test it, the front panel of the plane will indicate, and this is a light here that'll come on and tell you that this thing has turned on and is trans. Here's the reset. If this thing should go off, you push that reset and you push this button over to where it says ARM on there. ARM, okay? And then it's set. And if this thing bangs something too hard, it'll set off a signal, and the signal goes from here, which is the antenna in the back seat, up along the back side of the front seat. That's where the antenna is. It's inside the aircraft, not outside. Two-seat aircraft are required to have a ELT transmitter, and that's the ELT transmitter right there, and that's required on all two-seat aircraft. I start this screw just a little bit by hand, make sure it ain't cross-threaded. Do the same to this one. Should go in there real easy, but I don't go them down tight. Put these screws in one at a time. And after you get them all started and you're sure they're going in straight, then you tighten them up. Now you might have to move something to get the screw holes lined up sometimes, because they're just on those little sheet metal things under there. Last screw in here, I have to pull just a little bit on this to get the hole to line up. And now that they're all started and straight, and they're all run down in there a little ways, then I tighten them up. Tightening them up is the last thing you do. Okay, well, on the subject of this back seat, you can see this control stick in the back. There's a bolt right here. If you take that bolt and nut out of there, this top portion of the stick comes off there. That gives you room to put another gas tank in the seat, which you can fasten in with a seat belt, or carry cargo, your tent, your camping gear, sleeping bag, that sort of thing. The only thing you got to watch out for, this thing still moves back and forth. Now, if you want to eliminate this whole thing, you have to take this bolt out down here, which pulls out of this tube, and then you can take the whole thing off there, cable and all. The cable's fastened up above your head up in here, and you can take it loose up there, And then you don't have this. The only time I got in trouble with this, I was taking a newspaper report or something for a ride. He got his camera down in here, between here and the seat, and it was blocking the stick. I couldn't get full back stick because his camera, he had a lanyard around his neck, but the camera was blocking it. And after he got that out of there, then I could work it all right, but something to be concerned about. Right here is a drain hole in the seat. There's one here and one over here. That's in case water does get on the seat, it's got a way to drain out of there. Otherwise you fly with a wet butt. So those holes are important. Leave those holes in there. That's a drain hole for the seat. You got the same in the front as the back. I put drain holes in there.